Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day here at Live at the Waterhole. First one for the year for 2024, and a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Amy, and I'm with you all day today. It is good to be back with you all. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the animals at the Waterhole today and what lies in store for us. Been away for a little bit, so it is wonderful to be back with you all and getting to spend the day at the Waterhole. I mean, what could be better than that? A reminder to everyone that this is a live and interactive show, so please do let me know who you are, where you're from, any thoughts you have about what we're seeing. We have a beautiful animal right there at the moment here at Okukuyo in Namibia. Just trying to work out, I think it's a buffalo. But it could very well be a rhino as well. Wow, how lucky is this? This is my first rhino that I'm seeing here at Okukuyo, everyone. I was just trying to work out the horn looked a little bit different at this distance, but how special is this? I'm trying to just see if it's black or white. But how exciting. Oh my word, I don't know what's been seen here over the last 2 weeks that I've been away, but this is by far one of the most exciting sightings I've had here at Okukuyo. All right, well, it is looking like a beautiful day here in Namibia, but why don't we see what's happening with the weather across all our locations? Well, it is looking quite warm all round for the most part. Nice, beautiful summer weather. I'm thinking this is a black rhino, everyone. But hopefully, if it's on that game path, it's going to come around a little bit closer so I can just see the detail. The things that I'm looking for, first of all, from a distance would be the actual silhouette of the animal. So with a black rhino, it's got what we call a hollow back, whereas with a white rhino, it will have that little extra bump in the middle between its shoulder blades and its top of its tail. And then, of course, when you can have a closer look, you can see the shape of its actual head is very different. So the black rhino has a pointier lip because they are adapted to browse on trees, whereas your white rhino has a much broader flat mouth that is adapted to grazing. Catherine, hello. You say this is the first time seeing rhino here as well? Well, Catherine, you and me both. This is very, very cool. I just realized now, I don't think buffalo are actually found here at Okukuyu, Namibia, just because they are such heavy grazers and need a lot of water. So I just went, I was thinking out loud there, sharing my thoughts with you all without really thinking at all. But that was definitely looked like a black rhino. So very, very special sighting here to start off the new year. So, of course, with it being a nice warm day, something like that, Rhino definitely, I'm sure, came down to have a drink, and now is heading off back into the thickets where black rhinos are most comfortable. Really, the only time in this sort of desert-like environment that they would be heading out would be to come and find water out in the open. George, hello. You want to know if the rhino will be looking for nutrients in the soil? It's possible, George. The act of geophagia, which is what we call when an animal starts chewing soil or eating ground to gain nutrients that may be lacking in its diet. Um, and any animal can practice it. It's not something I've personally seen rhinos doing. I also Black rhinos are fairly rare and not an animal that we see a lot of. So I haven't been able to let me say observe a lot of black rhino behavior myself. Every time I have seen one feeding, it has been on the leaves, but I'm sure it is possible that they would also, um, if they felt they needed to, dig in the soil at all or eat some of the ground to get any nutrients that may be lacking, especially in environments where, like Okukuyo, for example, where there are limited nutrients available because of the harsh environment. And you could find, especially in certain years, let's say it's a bad year with a lot of drought or the rains didn't come as expected, and then they may need to search in alternative places to be able to get the full nutrient quota that those animals would need. Jenna, hello. You're from the UK. You say Happy New Year, Amy. And it's nice to have me back. And rhinos are out for you. I know, what a treat. It was really the last thing I possibly expected to see as we start the show was a rhino. That is why I initially was like, oh, maybe it's a buffalo because it's just not something we see every day. But I'm glad that you've joined us, Jenna. And it's really, really good to be back. Spent the last few weeks over Christmas and New Year down in the coast, so it's good to be back, heading up back to the Lowveld where I'm based, and now the Waterhole show, just bringing the beautiful African animals back into my everyday life, which I'm very excited about. Now have looks like one gemsbok here come down to drink in the water, and then also a few springbuck around, already looking for the shade. It's getting nice and warm here in the desert. Picasso, hello, happy new year to you as well. And you say it's so nice to hear my voice again. Well, I'm glad to be here and to lend my voice to the show today. And it is great that I'm with you the whole day and also half of tomorrow. So that's going to be fun as well. And then a lot throughout this month. So hopefully you don't get tired of my voice, Picasso.
We all know the struggle of finding the perfect gift. But what if you could give them an unforgettable experience? Something truly extraordinary. Introducing Nature Eye. Fly a real drone remotely at iconic locations, witnessing the beauty of nature like never before. Sign up to be an explorer and you could win one of these experiences yourself. Visit natureeye.com today. Well, everyone, I'm just actually taking a moment to take this incredible sighting in. It's
unbelievable to see this black rhino here with both horns just living its best life, cooling down in the water. It actually feels surreal a little bit. I can't believe it. And now that it's come a little bit closer, I can definitely confirm that it is a black rhino. As I was saying, it's got that hollow in the middle of its back, so between its top of its spine above its tail, and then at its shoulder blade, it's got a completely smooth, hollowed back there. Whereas with the white rhino, there's a third little bump right in the center of that. The next thing that I can see immediately is the shape of that mouth, how pointy it is. A white rhino has a much larger head that has a very square lip, also known as the squared-lipped rhino, is another name for the white rhino. And then the third thing, immediately I see the shape of those ears are rounded, whereas your white rhino has a pointy ear. So those are some of the key differentiating factors between the two types of rhinos that we get here in Southern Africa. And he is enjoying a swim on this very warm day. Lorraine, hello. Welcome to the show. You say that you saw black rhinos every night when you recently visited Okakuyo. That's amazing. That's wonderful. So lucky that you were able to come here and see it for yourself. And how cool is it now to be able to watch the show and be like, I was there. So there obviously are many around. And it is true, they often they're diurnal animals. They're active during the day, but sometimes rhinos do move around at night time when it's nice and cool. Just because of the temperature drop, they feel more comfortable to move from one area to another or come out to drink then. But it looks like that not only is this rhino drinking, but he's actually having a bit of a swim. Laura, hello, and a good morning to you from us here. It's almost afternoon in Central Africa. I'm not sure where you're watching from, but a good day to you nonetheless. You want to know which species are most popular at this watering hole? So definitely springbuck, which are some of the smaller antelopes that we see here in herds. I think there are a few standing just on the left hand side of the waterhole in the shade. The other common species that we see are the gemsbok. Those are the ones that are walking away from the waterhole they were drinking just behind the black rhino in the water. And then definitely zebra. Often, every time we have had the show, we have a herd of zebra come down to drink. Um, Wildebeest as well. There was one here just now as well. I actually didn't even mention him because the black rhino stole the spotlight. But there was wildebeest as well. And then we also see giraffe quite regularly, not in massive groups, but sometimes three or four, sometimes just one on its own comes down to drink. And then every now and again, every few days, we do get a herd of elephants that come through. Especially now with the heat of the summer, we may actually see them even more regularly. So fingers crossed that they'll come here to Okupuyo today. It has every possibility that they may come through. But for me, definitely one of the not common animals species that we see is this black rhino on the camera. Well, for me anyway. So this is very, very special indeed. Harry, hello. You want to know if black and white rhinos have different temperaments? Yes, I would definitely say that they have different temperaments, Harry. In fact, it's quite, black rhinos are quite notorious for having not so friendly temperaments. But it's actually a very, very interesting point of discussion, Harry, which we can talk about now. So thank you for bringing up that topic. Um, so let's put it this way: black rhinos are notoriously in a bad mood, almost always. They're one of the most dangerous animals to encounter on foot when walking, and it's the one thing that, as a guide, if you are specifically a trails guide, to be able to detect signs of a black rhino before you get into a dangerous situation, but sometimes those aren't possible. That case isn't possible, and often a black rhino will just react. It doesn't really give you a warning or anything like that, and sometimes they will just run for you straight and try and obviously hit you um, to eliminate the threat, let's say. And they have incredible sense of smell. So if the wind isn't in your favor, and because they also like thick bush, all those factors together contribute to them being a very potentially dangerous animal. But interestingly enough, when we look at any sort of accidents or incidents that happen with rhinos and humans, it often is actually the white rhinos that end up, let's say, reacting or possibly even fatally wounding humans, and that's often because white rhinos tend to have a better temperament, and so people on foot or guides or groups on trails tend to think that they can approach closer to white rhinos or not be as cautious as they would be with a black rhino, therefore putting themselves at greater risk, and therefore more incidents actually occur with them. So even though the white rhinos tend to have a better temperament, they're not quite as moody as a black rhino, because they're still wild animals and they still will act instinctively to protect themselves. And so if that happens, then that white rhino will also charge and attack a threat or a potential threat. But generally, the white rhinos are more social creatures. Of course, there are definitely recordings of black rhinos hanging out in groups, or crashes, as we call them, of rhinos. But for the most part, the general behavior that we associate with a black rhino is that it is a solitary animal. As you can see, this one here is on its own, both male and female. I'm not exactly sure if this is a male or female at the moment. When it comes out the water, we can see if we can see any clear signs of it being male or female. Whereas your white rhino is a little bit more social, but they still have the same natural instincts when it comes to protecting their calves and things like that. But yes, Harry, definitely different temperaments between the black and white rhinos. All right. Well, we are going to leave this rhino and the few other animals that are here for a while and go see what is happening at Jamala. Well, it is good to be back here at Jamala, everyone. I've missed this waterhole. It's always full of action, especially when it comes to the Eddies. And already my favorite thing to see, some Eddies having a mud bath or a swim, should I say, the two little ones having a lot of fun there. Always puts such a smile on my face. These elephants just look so happy to be able to come and swim here at the waterhole. It's also the sounds that I really enjoy of these animals splashing about, communicating with one another, just like that.
Eco Training's professional field guide course can make your dreams a reality. This comprehensive program comprises 5 months of theoretical and practical training in the African bush with highly qualified instructors in multiple locations. Enroll today and receive 5,000 Rand off using the promo code. If you've just finished school or tertiary education and you want to head into the wild, Eco Training's professional field guide course is for you.
Well, look what we have found here, Jamala. Looks like this giraffe is on its way down to the water slowly but surely, just feeding as he goes. In the last 2 weeks that I've been away, Jamala has gotten even greener. Well, Madikwe as a whole. And these giraffes must be loving it. Absolutely loving some soft, beautiful green leaves. Looks like he has a bit of a shorter ossicone on top of his head on his left hand side, our right. I'm not exactly sure why, if he was born like that or that was an injury sustained when fighting with another male. But other than that, he looks in quite good condition. Hi, Keith. You want to know if these larger animals are susceptible to getting sunburnt? No. So their skin is different to ours in that they have, for example, this giraffe has its coat, which is a lot of hair that's all condensely packed over in the different colors as you see here on this particular giraffe. So no, they wouldn't need to apply sunscreen. And for things like um, hippo, rhino, and elephants, your pachyderms, very large gray mammals, they have a very high amount of melanin in their skin, which means they are protected from the sun. So elephants also can't get sunburnt, but they can get very, very hot, therefore needing to cool down. Um, and it is nature's way of protecting them from the sun. They, of course, are mammals of Africa. They are expected, their natural habitat is very, very warm climates. And so they have adapted to be able to live in these harsh environments without having to worry about the effects of the sun, other than overheating, for example, and needing to cool down, hence the importance of water for these animals. We can also see actually on the head of this giraffe, um, there are some nodules coming out there just between the eyes. And we find, particularly in older male giraffes, um, with them constantly competing for mating rights, they do this act of necking where they'll swing their heads into the bodies of each other and hit their heads, and that will cause like hairline fractures. And so those little fractures and cracks need to rebuild, and the calcium will redeposit. And so these nodules form on their head. So this is a mature male. And I think that one horn is possibly a result of a old injury from fighting. Jive Bunny, hello. You say you love the sounds of the eddies. It is fantastic, isn't it? just to hear their huffing and puffing, their tails flicking, the water splashing. And there's a little one that's just gone into the water there, having a splash around.
As we race towards 2024, we need to repair or replace quite a bit of technical equipment. We'd also like to expand into other wilderness areas, and for that, we need Starlink. We want to make 2024 the best in WildEarth's history. In the next 7 days, we're going to run a donation drive to try and raise $15,000 US. This will go a long way to helping us continue with our mission to connect people with nature. Well, another little group
of Ellie's has come down, everyone, and they've just headed straight into the water. There's actually a smaller one in between these two bigger ones that we can't see at the moment. I think it's actually completely under the water. There it is now appearing. Oh, there's a tiny one at the back as well. And I just think the happiest time, when an elephant is happiest, is when it is swimming in a waterhole. I think today we are going to have a constant trickle of elephants down here to the water. There are some enjoying a lovely swim there at the moment. I wonder if these few that have come down will join them. Alicia, hello, welcome. You want to know which birds we can hear in the background? So, Alicia, there's a few different ones. As soon as I hear one distinct one, I'll point it out for you. But I did hear the chin spot batis earlier, which was a type of three-note whistle. Sounds like the bird is saying, "Three blind mice." And that is a small little black and white bird. Very pretty if you manage to get binoculars on it. And the females have this beautiful roof chin spot underneath basically on their throats. I can also hear Egyptian geese in the background just now, as well as there are some pied crows calling, which is sort of that harsh call that we can hear in the background. Little ones are now playing so nicely in the water. Almost look like a bunch of rocks if they stay still. I do apologize if you hear any talking in the background, everyone. Jamala is situated, this waterhole is situated in front of a lodge, and sometimes there are, of course, guests staying there. So every now and again, we can hear a bit of the talking coming through the microphone of the camera. That little Ellie's come to join the fun. And this one's having a bit of a rub on this fallen over log. You can actually see now where it's rubbing its trunk and its chin, under its nose. Can be a problem when you don't have fingers to scratch. You need to find alternative means. And this elephant is doing that right now. That little one is now having the best time in the water there. Now, we mainly see elephants doing this behavior like what we're seeing, this mud wallowing, splashing around here. When it's hot, that's the main reason that summer is such a wonderful time to visit the bush and get to see these elephants having a lot of fun around the water. Hi, Jack 2. You want to know if the giraffe that's there feeding in the background would be put off drinking by the elephants being there? Yes, I think to a degree the giraffe would be. Giraffes are particularly sensitive and extremely cautious when it comes to water holes. And even though the elephants don't pose any threat to the giraffe, they would, it's basically that the space is occupied at the moment. And I suppose, I've definitely seen giraffes drinking while elephants are at a water hole, depending on the size of the water hole available. There is space for this giraffe to come down and have water, which is not doesn't have an elephant drinking nearby. But I think if that giraffe is happy feeding, why not just wait until the elephants have sort of moved off and there's a bit of a gap where it's a lot quieter, and the giraffe can fully assess the environment and the area surrounding it to make sure that there's no threats around, and then he'll come down and have some water maybe. Victoria, hello. Nice to hear from you. You want to know how long is a giraffe's tongue? Now, hopefully we can get a really nice look at this giraffe's tongue while he's feeding here. They have an amazing tongue that is very long and can wrap around stalks and branches and pull off the leaves, because all they want is the leaves. They don't actually want the stalk part of the tree. They want to eat sort of as purely as possible to aid their digestion. And the length of the giraffe's tongue is about 45 to 50 centimeters. And I think that is about 20 inches in length. So it is a fair length. You can imagine that not only does it need to, sit in the mouth, but also needs to be able to extend so that they can wrap it around these stalks to pull off the leaves. Sometimes you can actually see them extended pretty far. I've seen when the knobthorn trees are flowering in the low veld, it's one of the favorite foods of the giraffe, the knobthorn flower. They enjoy it. And sometimes the giraffes have eaten so many of them that the only flowers available are much higher up on the tree, and so they can extend that tongue very far to be able to reach some of those flowers on the tops of the knobthorn trees. Alicia, you wanted to know about birds. I can hear what sounds like a black-headed oriole calling, actually, in the background here now. We also do hear a lot of weavers at this time of year. All of the males are busy building their nests. Sometimes there's even a flash of yellow across the screen. And then we can also hear a blacksmith lapwing. They are also very common at the waterholes that we visit.
For those in the wet and cold this festive season, transport yourself to a warm and sunny Africa. With virtual safaris in real time, interact with African naturalists, connect with fellow nature lovers across the globe, fall in love with nature, and join the WildEarth family this festive season. WildEarth, connecting you to nature.
beautiful to see the reflection of the sky in the water here, particularly on the far left-hand side of the waterhole where the ripples aren't reaching. It's almost a perfect mirror at the moment. Hello, Dark Main Lover. Lovely to hear from you. You say these beautiful elephants are enjoying their new year. Well, aren't they just? They probably have no concept of the idea of a new year, but they do have the concept of seasons. They can definitely sense the changes. And I'm sure that they are going to enjoy this new year here at Madikwe just as much as they enjoyed 2023. Giraffes on the move. I do wonder where he's heading to. We're just going to continue feeding. The fact of the matter is there really is no rush for these animals. That giraffe could feed within the vicinity of this waterfall all day and then end up coming to the water in an hour or two's time. Hi, Fuller. You have asked a very interesting question. You want to know if wild animals vomit like domestic animals? To an extent, yes, Fuller. I would say so. Um, I think in general, I associate that sort of vomiting that you're speaking about with dogs that sometimes get sick, and then with cats, coughing up a fur ball, for example, regurgitation as well as big within these animals. So there's a few, depending how you define vomit. If you're meaning in terms of sickness, I think nausea or illness that's affecting the gut. I personally haven't seen something like a giraffe or an elephant vomit, as in, bring up stomach contents through their mouth because they were ill. However, I'm not saying that that's not possible. With the likes of giraffe, impalas, or the ruminants animals, they actually regurgitate or vomit up, if you want to put it that way, their cud, which they re-chew. So that is actually the action of bringing up stomach contents, which the animals re-chew within their mouths, and then it goes back down again, and that process is called rumination. Your bigger cats could also cough up fur balls, just like domestic cats. They're also licking themselves, cleaning. Something like a leopard could consume excess fur, even when, let's say, eating an impala. A cat could consume excess fur, which won't necessarily always pass through the system, and it may be a natural reaction to try and cough up whatever's within the stomach. Wild dogs, jackals, part of your canids and canid family, then you're looking at more similar behavior like that of domestic dogs. Wild dogs in particular do regurgitate for their young, so they will go out, make a kill, and bring back coughed up pieces of meat for the puppies to eat, because the puppies can't join on hunts when they are still small. A very interesting question. Thank you, Fuller. So there, Alicia, I just heard the start of a Deirdre's cuckoo call. There we go. Sounds like a Deirdre's cuckoo. But at this time of the year, we also get some very good mimicking birds. And it's a lot easier sometimes if you hear it for yourself. But there are some birds, for example, a Sabota lark, which is particularly good at mimicking a Deirdre's cuckoo. Even fork-tailed drongos can mimic other birds.
I am Mike Anderson. Welcome to Eco-Training Pridelands Conservancy. Nothing like a good scratch. Hey, Susan, no. Oh, look at her, she's absolutely gorgeous. And look at this, there's a massive, I think it's a female rock python, and how incredible is that? Look at these two pushing each other.
Hello boy, how are you?
Z, hello. You say you are loving the background bird calls. Aren't they just beautiful? There's so many different ones at the moment. I heard a brown-hooded kingfisher calling as well. Here, blacksmith lapwings. All right, well, I can't believe it, but it is almost 1 p.m. here, exactly, and in Southern Africa, and it is time to introduce and be joined by Africa.